conference games are supposed to be easy for college basketball's heavyweights, but Miami had other ideas against the Cats. My goodness! John Calipari's team roared back from 18 down and put themselves in a position to win at the end. For the win! So the highly touted Wall is 1-0 in his UK career, but the question is, have the Cats learned their lesson? We'll find out when they tip it off against Sam Houston State. It's coming up next.
Rupp Arena in Lexington, Kentucky. It's University of Kentucky Wildcat basketball. Tonight, it's the University of Kentucky Wildcats versus the Sam Houston State Bearcats in the Cancun Challenge. Tonight's game is being brought to you by Kentucky Farm Bureau Insurance, big on commitment. By Ford, visit your Kentuckiana Ford dealer today. Ford, drive one. By Kentucky Community and Technical College System, KCTCS. Higher education begins here. By State Farm Insurance. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. By the Whitaker Bank Corporation, uniquely Kentucky. By Papa John's Pizza. Better ingredients, better pizza. And by Shelter Insurance. For your auto, home, and life, seek shelter today. Also brought to you by Kentucky's Touchstone Energy Cooperatives, Central Bank, Kroger, Ball Homes, Paul Miller Ford Mazda, the Kentucky Lottery, McDonald's, Central Baptist Hospital.
Anticipation over this Kentucky basketball team has packed the house each time the Wildcats have taken the court, but after what happened earlier this week, now these fans know anything can happen. Hi again, everybody. I'm Dave Baker alongside the Wildcat All-American Kyle Macy. Welcome in to Wildcat basketball here on the Big Blue Sports Network. Opener of the Cancun Challenge as Kentucky takes on Sam Houston State. And Kyle, today in the shoot-around, John Calipari, no more Mr. Nice Guy. He is intent on his team not falling behind the way they did against Miami of Ohio.
Well, I think he understands there's been a lot of upsets as you look around the country. Other teams, big-name teams you think wouldn't lose to a smaller-name team, and it's just across the board. If you're not ready to play, there's a chance you're going to get beat. The three-point line is close. Players are better. More good players throughout the country. And so he wants his team to be ready. Doesn't want to have to take a loss to learn a lesson.
Calipari didn't single anybody out. He said it was a whole team thing. But DeMarcus Cousins is a guy who has gotten himself into foul trouble real early every time he's taken to the floor.
Yeah, he's picked up some early fouls, some silly fouls, and it's kind of taken him out of the game. But as we saw the other night against Miami, when he puts his mind to it and gets really focused on the task at hand, he could be one of the best big men in the college basketball right now.
10 points and 10 rebounds all came in that second half comeback. What will happen tonight against the Bearcats of Sam Houston State? The starting lineups of the opening tip are coming up when we come right back. Big crowd on hand at Rupp Arena here on this Thursday night as the Cats open play in the Cancun Challenge against the Bearcats of Sam Houston State. Tonight's starting lineups are sponsored by your local Dodge dealer. You can take life as it comes, or you can grab life. Kyle, the Sam Houston State Bearcats come out of the Southland Conference. They come in here led by head coach Bob Marlin. They've got a team that has played some big clubs before, and I think they'll be able to handle this atmosphere tonight.
I think they will. They're an experienced club. 3 of their 5 starters back. 8 of the returning 12 players from last year's squad are back. Capped off by Mitchell and Allman. A real good guard combination. One's a facilitator, one's a scorer.
And Ashton Mitchell, the senior, Bob Marlin said in his 28 years of coaching, he's the most athletic point he's seen in college basketball. And the starting lineup for the Wildcats of Kentucky. And there you see the same starting lineup that we saw last game. Bledsoe, Miller, Wall, DeMarcus Cousins, and Patrick Patterson as they get set to go against the Bearcats. And Kyle Patterson's a guy that has been awfully active, and you have to wonder how much improvement John Wall's going to make now that he's got one official game under his belt.
Yeah, I think that one game under his belt is going to be a big boost. It's going to be interesting to see, too, how the Cats balance their attack. Coach Calipari talked about wanting to go a little bit more inside, but also balance that with some outside play as well.
All right, when we come right back, we'll get it going in the Cancun Challenge from Rupp. Big crowd in the eruption zone, getting ready to go for the opener in this Cancun Challenge. Dave Baker, Kyle Macy, and the third member of our broadcast crew is Rob Bromley. Rob, not only a battle on the scoreboard the other night, but underneath the boards as well.
Well, that's for sure. You'll remember as we take a look at tonight's UK Healthcare Injury Report, John Wall going down in the first half of the game, and he stayed down for a while, but then popped right back up and was all right. That was good news. But then Daniel Orton, in the action under the boards, as it turned out, he had to leave the court, had to have some stitches put in, but he was all right. Dave, that's tonight's UK Healthcare Injury Report. Back to you.
All right, Robert, we appreciate it, and Rob will be checking in with us throughout the game as this crowd is already jumping. The opening tip is presented by the Kentucky Community and Technical College System, KCTCS. Higher education begins here. Here you see DeMarcus Cousins as he gets set to step into the center circle, and Patrick Patterson and company, Bruce Benedict, John Cal, and Mike Kitts, your officials for tonight. And Kentucky controls the opening tap.
Maybe you talked about the crowd here at Rupp Arena. Even though the team may not be in midseason form, this crowd's been on top of their game right from the first exhibition game.
They were great in that comeback the other night, and they're great already. Patterson, nice look to Bledsoe, and the Cats hit their first tray of the night.
Got a good pound inside out look, sets up the wide open three.
Kentucky with a full court pressure. Sam Houston State, no problem beating it. And Corey Allman can't connect. Cousins, strong post, and he had it swatted back at him by Arthur Zulu. And at the other end, the flush by Gilberto Cavell.
Cavell led this team in scoring last time out with 16. He's a very physical specimen, transferred in from junior college, native of Puerto Rico, played in that 19 and under team against our own Darius Miller. Each time down now, you've seen Wildcats going inside the first three possessions.
And Patterson draws the game's first foul.
The foul is on Cavell. That's his first and the team's first. Patterson at the line.
There you see John Calipari. He has said that this team needs a lot more scrimmaging, Kyle, rather than running drills. He was very emphatic today at the shoot-around about the fact that they needed to be ready to go from the opening tip.
One area the Cats did struggle with the game the other night against Miami. Didn't shoot the ball very well from the free throw line. The first attempt here tonight by Patrick Patterson. Always good to get that first one under your belt. Kind of helps the team relax instead of starting off missing a few, and then it just kind of becomes contagious.
And there you see Bob Marlin. He's in his 11th season at Sam Houston State, but he's a guy that actually cut his teeth in the SEC. He's a 1981 grad of Mississippi State. As Cousins is active off the missed free throw, gets the putback and the foul.
Well, Kentucky does have a definite size advantage. That time Cousins using his body just to walk his defender underneath the basket, able to come up with those long arms. The ball kept the ball up. Very nice job holding it up, not allow the defense to get a deflection, and finishes the play.
And Cousins gets it to go. And a whistle as bodies go flying.
Ashton Mitchell made a big mistake that time against the Kentucky pressure. You got to know there's people coming from behind going to back tip. You got to get out of the middle of the floor, find the sideline to help protect your back. Either that or get rid of the basketball. So Kentucky doing a good job of following the ball. Once it passes the line of the ball passes, you got to sprint back, get your defense set.
Marlin already with a substitution as Antoine Boodle checks into the game. Boodle, 6'7", 265 sophomore from Freeport in the Bahamas.
You see Sam Houston really sagging that defense, playing man-to-man, but it's really sagging, almost looks like his own.
And Patterson raises up and connects. On Tuesday night, it was Miami of Ohio, but tonight, it's the Wildcats of Kentucky, 2 of 2 from outside the arc. And the jumper won't fall, and Boodle gets the rebound, and he's called for the walk.
Kentucky fortunate that time someone didn't close back out on the ball reversal. Gave Sam Houston State a wide open look. Just didn't get it to go down. See the Cats again try to get the ball inside first before they go perimeter play.
Right back inside they go, and Cousins couldn't keep the handle, but look at him with the follow. I'm telling you, Coach, sometimes players don't get messages. That's the message that was delivered in the second half the other day, and in shoot-around has been heard loud and clear by all these Cats, but especially DeMarcus Cousins.
Well, the Cats definitely have come up with their ears up tonight. Really looking forward to playing this game. Excitement, not waiting till the second half to get back in the contest. All 5 players on the floor really active with their hands, their feet, everybody talking.
A 14-2 run to start the game, as Almond is able to quiet the crowd for just a moment. Corey Almond, the senior out of Oxon Hill, Maryland.
And, you know, that's one thing this Kentucky team will get better as the season progresses, understanding the scouting report. Almond made 99 threes last year during the season, so you've got to know he's a three-point threat, and you got to find him at all times.
Boy, Miller got a good look as his shooting has gotten better over the last couple of weeks. And again, the Cats slow to get back on defense. Miller challenged the shot, but Mike Kitts said he committed a foul.
Yeah, Miller gets called for the foul, but it wasn't his man. He was just trying to help out because either Cousins or Patterson were slow in getting back. Miller had to come over to give some help. Just a good job by
Cavell.
Cavell, yeah, going strong to the basket. But Mitchell did a good job passing the ball up the floor, too.
Gilberto Clavell, junior from Mayagüez, Puerto Rico, out of the Florida Air Academy. That's the same school that produced Walter Hodge, who seemed like he played 150 games for Florida in his 4-year career, which just came to an end last year. Second one is up and in. And even though Kentucky shot out to that big lead, Kyle, we talked about the fact that Sam Houston State has got experience. They play against teams like Texas Tech and other big-name schools. And there's Mitchell getting a hand on the ball. They've not only weathered this storm, but they've gotten their feet underneath them.
Yeah, and that's just a sign of that experience. They've been in some battles before. They know the game's not going to be won in the first 4 or 5 minutes of the contest, so they're just going to try to weather the storm, keep playing strong defense, try to get their shots to go, get back in the contest.
Under Bob Marlin, they've had victories over Texas Tech, Baylor, Missouri, Nebraska. This year they'll take on Kentucky, Oral Roberts, Auburn, Wright State, Cleveland State, and Western Michigan.
Mitchell and Bledsoe going at it a little bit there.
A little bit of yapping going on. Mike Kitts, the official you saw right there, also gave a warning to John Calipari. And now he steps in and is talking to Ashton Mitchell and Eric Bledsoe.
Both players pretty good physical specimens.
Bob Marlin, the Sam Houston coach, compared Mitchell favorably to Bledsoe. He said he just didn't think that Mitchell had that extra gear like Bledsoe does. And let's see how the freshman responds on the defensive end. Got a hand on that pass, but it got through. And to help side defense, Miller got the block. And the spin move won't fall for Clavell, and Patterson pulls down the rebound. Cousins couldn't hold it. Calipari wanted a foul. But after falling behind big early, the Bearcats have battled back. It's Kentucky, though, with the early 7-point lead. Don't forget that Whitaker Bank will donate $100 to the Kaywood Ledford Scholarship Fund for each bank shot made in tonight's game. Dave Baker, Kyle Macy, Rob Bromley, our producers, Mike Kennerak. Tom Bickle is our director. Tim Mays, the whole Big Blue Sports Network gang, here tonight for the opener of the Cancun Challenge. And a good competitive game early on, Kyle. Not only did the Cats come out and look ready to play as their coach demanded, but the Sam Houston State team came out and responded well after falling into an early 12-point hole.
Yeah, a good experienced team like that, once they get that first bump, they kind of forget about all those pregame jitters. And Kentucky, like you said, came out with good enthusiasm. Now it's just a matter of maintaining that. Got to be careful not to try to make the highlight reel on every play, but you got to sometimes just make the simple play, but an effective play. That's what Kentucky needs to do here in this first half.
side. Clavel went up, but Patterson got the block.
So that's exactly what I'm talking about, Dave. They made the block, which is a highlight play, but didn't clean up on the loose ball. So now Sam Houston State gets another possession.
And there's Almond, who you talked about with those 99 threes. He's now 1 of 2 from outside the arc tonight. And Bledsoe out of control, turns it over.
Just can't be careless with the ball like that. John Hood will check in for Eric Bledsoe.
And Cousins and Wall knock it away from one another. They had the position that time.
Well, that's the kind of mistake a coach can live with, though, because both players were fighting to get the ball. They weren't fighting each other. They just didn't communicate very well to let the other one know they had it. But they were both going for the basketball. You can live with those kind of mistakes.
You see John Hood check in, the 6'6 freshman from Madisonville, as Clavel can't hit. And Wall lost it in the open court. It was knocked away. One other interesting note is John Hood checked in tonight, Kyle. Hood's dad played for Bob Marlin when he was an assistant down at Northeast Louisiana, which is now Louisiana Monroe.
John Hood seeing his first action.
He checked in for Darius Miller, so it's Bledsoe, Hood, Patterson, Wall, and Cousins. There's Wall off the curl. And Cousins got 2 hands on it. Boy, the big fella has been active early.
Yeah, he did a real good job that time. The first possession couldn't grab it, so he just tipped it up against the board and then went back to get it. So just a real good. If you can't gain possession, keep it alive. By there you see tipping with the right hand and then getting with both before he draws the foul.
So Cousins will go to the line. And now they say that it was on the rebound. He was at the line, so they set the inbounds play. Cousins averaging 8.5 points and 7 rebounds a game. And Bledsoe with a challenge. And look at Cousins again. Man, not only was he going to the glass, but that is an athletic play, Kyle.
Yeah, real good timing going for that missed shot. Bledsoe may have gotten away with coming back down to the ground before he released that shot, but give DeMarcus Cousins. Got to go to those offensive boards. The ball most of the time won't come to you. You've got to go find it.
And Justin Crow, who just checked into the lineup, is called for steps. As you take a look at Bob Marlin. Perry Stevenson checks into the Kentucky lineup, giving Patrick Patterson his first break. And Allman, the three-point threat, goes out for Sam Houston State, as does Crow. Checking into their lineup is 6'2" junior Lance Peebyhouse, as you take a look at Kentucky's hot shooting start.
Yeah, Trayvon Charles also has checked in for Sam Houston. They're trying to get a little physical here with Kentucky. Let's see how this young team responds. And that's a pretty good response there by DeMarcus Cousins.
Kevin Kidd, sitting to our left, is going to start doing some gonkulating here in a second, as Jethro Bodine would say. But ever since Cousins got that talk early in the second half against Miami of Ohio, this guy's played some incredible basketball. Not only for a freshman, but just incredible basketball, period. Look at those numbers, 9 points and 8 rebounds. And we're not to the second TV timeout yet.
Well, and he got that double-double from last game, pretty much all in the second half.
It was all in the second half. He was 0 for 2 at the half with no rebounds.
Good smart play there, not to pick up a foul.
And there's Cousins with a steal. Bearcats got it back. They continue to fight underneath, and Boodle is fouled. Crowd doesn't like it. Calipari didn't like something he saw, and that's why Ramon Harris is up getting ready to check in.
Yeah, and that's the fine line there for this Kentucky team. They are a very good shot-blocking team, but at times, and here I think is what the Kentucky bench is upset about, thought there should have been a foul, but they rely a little bit too much on their athletic ability, trying to block too many shots. You've got to get that inside position after the first miss so you can gather the basketball.
And Harris will check in for Hood, as Boodle missed the first free throw.
Boodle 6'7", 265, giving up a few inches, but using that weight effectively. Comes all the way from Freeport, Bahamas.
And a foul is called away from the ball. Boodle gets whistled. after not converting. And Kentucky will inbound the basketball with a 12-point lead.
Another walk-up set. See if the Cats try to go inside.
Cousins against the double team. Tried to get it to the cutting Perry Stevenson.
Yeah, and probably a good thing it was deflected out of bounds. He's got to take a look. That time he just kind of automatically threw it, which is where you want to throw it if it's open, but you have to look and see. That time they sagged in. The open man was John Wall out of bounds, 3-point line.
Arthur Zulu checks back into the Sam Houston State lineup, and there's Cousins going to get the loose ball on the floor and had it taken away. Boy, Calipari did not like the time it took Cousins to get off the floor. And Daniel Orton at the scorer's table waiting to check in. But look at Big Cuz right in front of his coach.
Coach Calipari was upset because once Sam Houston got possession of the ball, DeMarcus Cousins decided to stay back and try to pressure himself in the backcourt. He wanted his big man to run back, but to Cousins' credit, diving, getting the deflection, coming up with that loose ball, and Kentucky calls a timeout.
Kyle, he's got those 9 points and those 8 rebounds. He's been incredibly active on the glass, gotten some steals, and at least on a couple of different occasions has gone to the floor. And look at the court awareness by somebody, and I'm guessing that it's Cousins. He not only stays in bounds, but they get the 30-second timeout.
But you can see him breathing pretty hard, so he'll get a little break here before he comes back in. But the good news is hasn't picked up the fouls yet, so it allows him to play longer in the game here at the 7-minute mark. Would be his first rest. So if he can go stretches like that, that's going to be a big plus for Kentucky.
And of course, the Cats involved in that race to 2000, college basketball's all-time winningest program. Of course, the North Carolina Tar Heels coming here to Rupp Arena in early December.
Sam Houston State, though, really trying to make this a physical game. Interesting to see how the Cats are responding so far. I've been passing the test. They're bouncing right back, attacking back, not stepping back on their heels at all.
Lance Peebyhouse, number 21, back in, checking Ramon Harris there. As Bledsoe with a nice crossover. Oh, wow. He had a lane there where he could have pulled up and taken a jump shot, and he comes back the other way, and that was a sweet, big-time finish.
Yeah, it was kind of awkward. As you can see, he's really limping on that right ankle. He's asked to come out.
You know, the kids talk about breaking somebody's ankles when they make a move like that. Looked like he tweaked his own, as you said.
Yeah, exactly. But just great body control to be able to finish that play.
That's when you know you're fast, when you can hurt your own ankle.
Yeah, a little crossover move and kind of like a hurdler jumping over. And a little underhand finger roll to finish the play.
I think what happened, Kyle, is if you look, he kind of kicked that leg back. If we get another look at it, I think when he planted to go up for the shot, that ankle has been tender.
Yeah.
They've been treating it a lot. Probably just one of those things where it just felt a little something.
I think the excitement, too, from making the shot, it didn't really bother him the first 3 or 4 steps back down the court. But you see, crossover move there.
Now watch this. Watch when he plants. He stepped on the foot right there.
He stepped right on the toe.
He stepped on Peebyhouse's foot. Great job by our guys in the truck. And what happened was he rolled it just enough. You could see him kick that leg back after he went up, and there he takes a hop. But that's a great angle, guys. He actually came down on Peebyhouse's foot and still went up and was able to continue and get the basket. Bledsoe now 2 of 3 from the field. He had that big game opening night when Wall was serving the suspension against Morehead State, but really kind of choppy last time against Miami. Good to see him out to a quick start this evening.
Yeah, those ankle injuries can be nagging. You want to try to get them healed as quickly as possible. You don't want that to linger during the entire season.
Miller thought about it, but Trevin Charles, who just checked in, number 12 with the defense, and he's checking Wall out front as well.
You see the
one too many passes as Peebyhouse gets the interception.
Started to say you can see Kentucky playing too much perimeter, not going to the basket, but you have to give Sam Houston some credit on their defense, not allowing Kentucky to get into those gaps and seams.
And Kentucky on the defensive end of the court now as the Cats enjoy their biggest lead at 14. Charles with the lead, and Clavel with a spin. And it's Harris that comes out of there with it. Nice drive into the lane, and a good job by Darius Miller reading that defense and drawing the contact.
Yeah, that's what you like to see from Darius Miller, attacking the basket, gathering control, and finishing.
The Cats determined not to fall behind tonight. Right now, they enjoy a 14-point lead. Fans, be sure to join us back here at Rupp Arena Saturday when the Wildcats take on the Bronx from Rider University as we continue first-round action of the Cancun Challenge. Check your local listings for the time and station in your area. And, of course, Rider already with a win over Mississippi State. Tournament play continuing all over the country, Kyle, and just got a score in that Ole Miss, speaking of Mississippi teams, has now moved to 2-0 with an 89-71 win over Indiana.
And Dayton knocked off Georgia Tech earlier today as well. Kentucky shooting the ball very well so far tonight, Dave. 57%, 8 of 14 from the field. 12 of those points of the 21 points for the Wildcats have come within the paint. I think that's a stat all Kentucky fans will keep an eye on just to see how much balance, how they're going to the basket, the big men being able to finish.
And Miller is able to hit. In case you weren't with us the other night, John Calipari put everything on his shoulders, said that Darius Miller had not been shooting the basketball well the previous 2 weeks. Calipari saw something in his shooting, said his shoulders are back, his head was back, and he meant to mention it to him but never did. And again, during the shoot-around today, he talked about how much better Darius's shot looked.
I'd be a little upset if I was Darius. Why he waited 2 weeks to tell him.
And that is a long jumper that goes in for Preston Brown. He's a big key as that one is thrown away. Brown, who just made that three-pointer, is averaging 19 points a game. He's a 6'6", 220-pound senior from Stringtown, Oklahoma. Bob Marlin did not know if he would play. He injured a hamstring in the last game, and he was just running stairs last night, so they're not sure what they'll be able to get out of him. But if they can get him open for shots like that, he's a guy that can make a difference.
Yeah, he was the third leading scorer in their team last season. He really brought in some better players this year.
Well,
another one.
Oh! John Calipari. I mean, everything is taking place there except the head spinning on its axis. Everything else is in place. I mean, a guy comes in, you know he's a three-point shooter. This is what we're talking about with a young team. He makes his first, and then they don't get out to him on his second.
Well, and I'm sure that's something they talked about, not only in the scouting report, but probably the timeout when they went over which man who had who. And Patrick Patterson, even though one of your upperclassmen was the one at fault that time, so Coach Calipari didn't wait to see just when a freshman makes mistakes. Everybody's game. You've got a job to do. You're expected to do it.
There you see Sam Houston State's Fast Facts in Huntsville, Texas. Remember the Southland Conference, as we told you. Last season, 18-12. They were hovering a little below 500, and they reeled off 12-13 wins, and they're the preseason pick to win the Southland this year. And Justin Crow pulls down the rebound.
Unfortunately for Sam Houston, it is a one-school conference, and your conference tournament, really only one team from that conference is going to make it to the NCAA after that great regular season, to getting knocked off that first round.
Crow with a long three with a hand in his face. And if Yogi was here, you'd be hearing deja vu all over again as Sam Houston State has hit its last 3 threes, but nice high-low there from Daniel Orton to Patrick Patterson.
A good look on the reversal.
And there's an open backdoor cut. Orton got the block. And then a nice job with the sportsmanship there as he helped Crow up.
Here you see Patrick Patterson sealing on the high side. Daniel Orton a little bit flat, but did get it over Pavel. Not quite the size to defend that, but Kentucky, with the size advantage they have, every time down the floor on walk-ups or slow-down situations, should be trying to pound the ball inside. If they get a missed shot where the speed of the game is going up and down, try to attack the basket, use the dribble drive, but otherwise look for them to be a little bit more inside-oriented in their half-court sets.
Marcus Cousins, after that great start back into the game for the Cats, he's got 10 points and 8 rebounds already, and he probably got a good 5-6 minutes worth of rest there.
Well, that's the other thing, too. When you get tired and come out, you know as soon as you feel good, you tell the coaches they're going to put you right back in. It's not like they decide. Almost a shot clock violation there.
They said Dre Murray got it off, but it was no good. And a great lead as Bledsoe saved it. Cousins finished it.
Don't know if he knew exactly who he was throwing it to, but it worked out perfectly, and give DeMarcus Cousins a lot of credit for running the floor. Sometimes the big men like to stop about mid-court line, not finish the play.
Wow. Corey Almond hits. And there's Cousins again. Can't get that one to go. And the Bearcats have the basketball, and they have hit their last 4 3-pointers. Sam Houston State now 5 of 11 from outside the arc.
And as a player, you have to recognize that when the pick is made or they come off the pick, you can't step back. You've got to move into them. As Almond makes another one. You've got to make him be a dribbler. Come off that pick. If you're following him, get right in his belt. Make him put the ball on the floor.
John Calipari might just... I mean, he could have the basketball equivalent of the big one if they don't start guarding a three-point shooter. 5 threes in a row. Here's Miller for a 3. And Darius Miller was getting ready to come out before that shot. And then Calipari called Ramon Harris back from the scorer's table. Here's Clavel against Patterson. And he's called for the walk. Calipari likes Miller shooting. He wants him to get out on the shooters. The Bearcats trying to get back in it from Trayville. UK Hoops fans, we've got UK women's basketball action coming your way in the Big Blue Sports Network and Fox Sports. On Sunday, December 13th, the Florida A&M Rattlers come to Lexington to take on Matthew Mitchell's Cats at Memorial Coliseum. That's December 13th. Check your local listings for the time and station in your area. Yeah, they're going to have to start making those 3 defense signs or something. Play a little 3-point defense for the home team as Darius Miller heads back up into the offensive end. But Kyle, Sam Houston State now 6 of 12 from outside the arc. They have hit their last 5 threes to cut a 14-point lead down to 8.
And this is a team last time out only 5 of 22 from behind the 3-point line.
Bledsoe tries a 3 but can't get it to go. Preston Brown, bad hamstring and all, gets the rebound. And Mitchell in for the drive, had it blocked, got it back, and now on the held ball, the alternate possession goes to the Bearcats.
The Kentucky perimeter players, when they're running the floor, that they almost go to the free throw line before they work their way back out. You've got to know if a shooter's coming down, you got to stop at that 3-point line, go be the aggressor, go get him first.
And that shot by Almond kicks off the back rim. But the Bearcats with the offensive rebound.
Take a look now from this view of the team defense. See if all 5 players are watching the ball, packing it in on the drive. Here, when the ball's on your man, you got to extend out above that 3-point line. That time Patterson a little late recovering when he had some help.
Okay, so Preston Brown comes in. Had not had a 3 this year. Comes in with a bad hamstring and has hit all 3 threes he's taken from off the bench. Here's Patterson answering at the other end. Kentucky's shown an ability to do that, but what they've got to do is they've got to come up with some stops.
Yeah, and I think that we're seeing right now that Kentucky has spent a lot more time on the offensive end in practice sessions than they have worked on their team defense. Because little things they should be doing at this point, even though it is early, as Daniel Orton maybe gets away with a foul that time, but they're just not clicking, it's not registering yet.
Nice kick out from Wall to Miller, and he knocks down the 3.
You see the offense becoming a little bit more solid, both inside out in the up and down situation or in the half court. But still too many breakdowns, one-on-one or not within the team structure on the defensive end. The defense right now, as you see, when the ball's passed, players are kind of reacting. You want to dictate the play, make the ball go where you want it to. That time another shot, no hand up. It didn't go, but it was a good look.
Mitchell got a good look, but couldn't get it to fall, and then he commits the foul at the other end with a reach-in on Bledsoe.
Patterson calling for a substitution.
And there you see Patrick Patterson as he's going to get a break, but he continues to move up the all-time scoring list in Kentucky. Just passing Jamal McGlure and hoping to get Dirk Minifield and maybe Rex Chapman before the night's up.
And as you look at those names too, Patrick only in 3 years of playing.
Yep.
The rest were in, well, Rex Chapman wasn't, but the other ones were in 4 years.
Patterson with 8 points on the night. He is perfect from the field to go along with a couple of rebounds. So it's Wall, Miller, Bledsoe, Cousins, and Perry Stevenson. As John Calipari goes a little smaller, maybe trying to extend that defense out of these three-point shooters. PB House, Mitchell, Justin Crow, Clavel, and Corey Allman. Small lineup as well for Sam Houston State.
And that's exactly why they've gone to this smaller lineup. One, Patrick Patterson was tired, needed a break, but also, two, it's very difficult for a 6'9 guy, 6'11 guy to come out there and feel comfortable guarding a 6'1", 6'4 player that can shoot the three. They're used to being inside the lane, banging around, as opposed to extending out and trying to guard a perimeter player.
Wow. Corey Allman knocks down another three. It's his fourth of the game. All 12 of his points from outside the arc. And Cousins with the roll answers at the other end.
Well, Kentucky should be looking there every time. Took about 4 passes before he got it down low, even though he was open.
Mitchell lost control, and Bledsoe with the lead to Wall.
Both backcourt men complimenting each other.
And now the pace definitely favoring the Cats. And Bledsoe puts up the arm. He's looking for some gas in the tank.
That Wall also raising the fist, but here you see good hands by Eric Bledsoe coming away with the steal. It just drives to the basket, the defense commits, he throws the lob, and John Wall finishes.
And rather than get one of those guys out of the lineup, I think John Calipari decided to take a timeout. There you see Cousins as he and Miller and company get some water. You see John Hood there. Looks like he's ready to go in along with Ramon Harris. But certainly, Kyle, this team has the ability. And I think you saw it right there in that two-man game with Bledsoe and Wall. They've got the unselfishness to really play that up and down kind of game offensively. It's the defensive end where the work still needs to be put in.
Yeah, and that's going to come with time. You've got to spend a lot of time where you can trust your teammates on the defensive end. One other thing after the last game, Coach Calipari talked about the rhythm of this team. They didn't have a real good rhythm. Well, what he means by that is understanding when you have a fast break situation as they did the last possession, going ahead and attacking, scoring, trying to finish. If it's not there, don't dribble into 3 or 4 players and force up a bad shot. Take it out, get your big men down in the low post, try to pound the ball and use that size. Looks like Sam Houston's going to 2-3 zone nowadays.
Yep, first time. So you've got Bledsoe, Perry Stevenson, Hood, Miller, and DeMarcus Cousins. So Hood's a guy that can shoot a team out of his own. So can Bledsoe. And Cousins gets that roll. You know he came in here, Kyle, known as Big Cuz, but you talk about that rhythm. He likes boogie, too. And if he boogies like that, this offense can get a lot of rhythm. 16 first half points, 8 rebounds as Cousins is 7 of 10 from the field.
Kentucky's changed now on the two-man games or the handoffs. Instead of switching and being late, getting back to the three-point shooter, they've now gone to switching everything. Try to stay with the picker who was becoming the shooter.
16 points is the biggest lead the Cats have enjoyed tonight. Right now the margin is at 5. At 15, right? Hello, it's at Newman. The Cats, when they run, they got it going here at Rupp. And this reminder that coming up a little later, our Kentucky Farm Bureau all-around coverage, defensive play of the game. That's coming up a little bit later. Brought to you by our friends at Kentucky Farm Bureau. You know, a defensive play in this one could qualify as just having somebody shoot it too. We'll talk about that in a minute, but how about the guys that aren't shooting? For more on that, here's Rob Bromley.
Well, you know, we saw Darnell Dotson, Dave, come off the bench in the first half against Miami and hit those 3 big threes. He has yet to take the warm-up off here tonight. Coach Cal asked about him yesterday, said he was in the doghouse, said he didn't like what he was doing in practice. So we've not seen Dotson tonight, and we have yet to see DeAndre Liggins, as we have yet to see him play all season.
And there has been a lot of conjecture about those two situations the last several days. But Kyle, I don't know how John Calipari is there as a whistle away from the ball. Don't know how Cal handled those things at Memphis, but he has taken the tact here. He said, I want to talk about the guys that are playing, and obviously if it's a disciplinary thing, he's going to keep it private and work it out between himself, the team, and the player as Trevon Charles gets inside for a rare 2-point bucket.
Kentucky defensively against the out of bounds has not been doing a very good job tonight. That time Cousins allowed the man to get inside to the basket. Dave, you were talking about the three-point shooting. This Sam Houston team, they have 30 points. Another 3. So that makes 9 threes. 27 of their 33 points have been behind the three-point line. 2 2-point field goals, and then free throws.
8 of their last 9 baskets have come on threes as Cousins gets free and finishes again. A monster first half for DeMarcus Cousins.
Just did a good job catching the basketball and finishing strong. A lot of slaps across the arms, but when you're 6'11", 265 or more, you should be able to finish those against 6'2" guys.
You should, but 2 things there, Kyle, early in the season. Number 1, John Hood is doing a nice job of getting the ball to him and taking a nice angle. And Cousins is doing a good job of putting himself in a position where Hood can deliver the basketball.
Trying to ride the defender up on the high side and hold that seal. And they did a good job of keeping his balance. He made that little fake and then the step-through move.
Patrick Patterson back in the game after getting that rest. Pulls down the offensive rebound, and here's Hood. And Patterson took it away from Clavel. Wall.
Excellent inside work by Patrick Patterson, pounding the offensive glass.
John Wall's first 3 of the night. And the margin is again at 15. Clavel on the drive. Cousins, nice defensive position as he got the block and the rebound. That's his 9th rebound. And wow. John Wall with the underhand pass tried to make that circus play you talked about, and then there was a wet spot on the floor behind the play, and he took a hard fall.
And you know, I think he was just jumping up the excitement, expecting that pass to go for a dunk. As he jumped there and see when he came down, just kind of slipped. I don't know if Clavel kind of accidentally ran into him or what.
That's not good when you jump like that. You miss the landing. Approaching the 2-minute mark in his first half.
Much better job there trying to make Allman go to the basket, not letting him shoot that 3.
And that time he got free, but Wall with the good defense. Cousins got the rebound. And now Mitchell the other way. Allman. Wow.
And you know, John Wall did a good job hustling back, but when he closed back out, he didn't raise a hand. You've got to get a hand in the shooter's face. At least let him know you're there.
The way he and his teammates are shooting, this could be the Allman Brothers band. 6 of 10 from outside the arc as Patterson can't get it to go. And Sam Houston State now 10 of 18 from outside the 3-point line. Oh my goodness, make it 11 of 19, and look at John Calipari.
Well, that's another area Kentucky will continue to work on, their transition defense. You may not always be able to get to your man, but you have to communicate, say, I've got him, you stay with mine. But a good job that time by Mitchell, finding his teammate. Peavy House passing it on to Allman, knocks it down, nothing but net. Good ball movement. Little drop pass, little skip pass to the shooter. little slow coming out to close out on the attempt.
Oh, and Allman tries to quiet the crowd. The senior out of Oxon Hill, Maryland, talking it up a little bit. And you know, Kyle, the thing about this, teams are going to continue to do it. You see Cousins there to your left. You know, the focus was for him to get off to a great start. Well, here we are. We're not at the half yet. 1:18 left, and he's already got a double-double. 18 points, 10 rebounds. He's got at least a couple of blocks. And Kentucky, hey, you'd take 50% three-point shooting, wouldn't you? Unless you're giving up 57% on the other side.
Yeah, exactly right. Now, real important here, a 9-point lead with 1:16 to go ahead and get a basket or two, get a little momentum back, try to stop this run by Sam Houston, not let them cut it down to below 5 going into halftime.
Miller works against Peavy House, and here comes Bledsoe on the curl.
Isolate the side.
Cousins put it on the deck and lost it. And it goes out of bounds.
Yeah, and one area where DeMarcus Cousins can get even better in the low post if he'll bend his knees and use the wide rear end to get that strong base. The tendency sometimes to stand up a little straight, even though he is a 6'11", you're that much bigger when you can squat down and use your leg strength.
And the thing I like, Kyle, is he got called out publicly and privately by his coach. Didn't pout, reacted to it. Gave him what he wanted. Whoa! Oh, what a burst of speed! And he made it look easy.
Yeah, that's the ability of John Wall, just to find that extra gear when he blows by and finish the play.
And now can Kentucky come up with a stop? About a 9-second difference between the game clock and shot clock. Allman got hung in the air. Are you kidding me?
Well, John Wall waited a little too long to react. He did get a good hand in his face, but man, Allman is on fire. A hang time three-pointer that time.
8 of 11 from outside the three-point line. Miller, can he answer? Yes! I think I'd find Allman. Instead, it's Mitchell. And what a first 20 minutes of play. Goodness gracious. Look at Calipari shaking his head. His team with a good first half offensively. But Sam Houston State stays in it with a 3-ball. Trailing by 11 at the break.
University of Kentucky Wildcat Basketball is brought to you by Kentucky Farm Bureau Insurance. Big on commitments. By Ford. Visit your Kentucky and a Ford dealer today. Ford. Drive one. By Kentucky Community and Technical College System. KCTCS. Higher education begins here. By State Farm Insurance. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. By the Whitaker Bank Corporation. Uniquely Kentucky. By Papa John's Pizza. Better ingredients, better pizza. And by Shelter Insurance. For your auto, home, and life, seek shelter today. Also brought to you by Kentucky's Touchstone Energy Cooperatives, Central Bank, Kroger, Ball Homes, Paul Miller Ford Mazda, the Kentucky Lottery, McDonald's, Central Baptist Hospital.
And the eruption zone still fired up as we get set for the second half of basketball here in the opener of the Cancun Classic. Kentucky leads Sam Houston State 53-42. Oh, that's not good three-point defense there on the screen, Kyle Macy.
No, it's not. And we were talking about this at the break. I'm sure Rob went over it, but with Allman's 8-pointer is tied the Rupp Arena individual record as Miller starts out with a running jumper, but
Now hold it down. Let's put that in perspective. The other night against Miami of Ohio, you had Nick Winbush that tied that record with 8 3-pointers for the game.
For the entire game, right.
Allman got 8 in the first half.
And as a team, they're at 12, and Miami set the record as a team with 15 makes. So that was over a game. This number was 12, was over the first half.
Clavel gets his own rebound as Cousins didn't get the box out. And now he'll get the quick out as Daniel Orton is up off the bench.
Not much of a card player day, but the old Texas Hold'em, it's turned into more of a Texas shootout. Both teams blazing the nets over 55%.
Now, I think there are two things here, Coach Macy. I think there's a recognition issue and then there's a toughness issue. Nobody's advocating violence, but when somebody starts hitting shots as Wall spins it in, don't you have to put a body on him at some point in time to deter their open looks?
Yes, you don't give them enough room first to get the shot up, but if they do, you make sure there's a bump, there's contact, so at least they're aware that you're on the floor. Because right now, players are shooting when they close out, the Kentucky defenders are keeping their hands down, and they can look right over the top of the heads of the defender.
Preston missed that short jumper, and Bledsoe starts out the second half the way he started the game, hitting a three. And Calipari couldn't have been more pleased with the look that he got from John Wall. And back come the Bearcats as they get back to their three-point shooting ways. That's Justin Crow who hits, and immediately their coach Bob Marlin takes a quick timeout. Yeah, it'll make you go crazy. But the Cats still on top. Be sure to join us back here at Rupp Arena Saturday when the Wildcats take on the Bronx from Rider University as we continue first-round action of the Cancun Challenge. Check your local listings for the time and station in your area. So they come out and hit a dozen three-pointers to the Bearcats of Sam Houston State. They missed their first two shots in the second half, and then they knocked down a three, and head coach Bob Marlin takes a quick timeout, and Calipari still trying to get his three-point defense set.
You know what's happening with this Kentucky defense is, one, the communication is not real good. Sometimes they're switching, sometimes not. But the other thing is players are playing defense for a second. When the ball's passed, and they just kind of relax. And then the ball is brought right back as Bledsoe makes another three from deep in the corner. So Sam Houston not doing much better guarding the three, but you cannot relax defensively. You always got to move to the position. If you're standing still, you're about ready to get beat. You've got to float to the ball, give help position, recover back when the ball comes to your man. Always aware of where the ball is, but also know where your man is.
Kentucky now with its largest lead at 18. And there's a nice cut to the basket. Allman was too close. That's why he missed. Bledsoe. Boy, that was an unselfish look. He probably should have gone up with that ball.
Yeah, that was too late. Yeah, he should have given it up earlier or just shot it. You're right.
And at the other end, Clavell draws the contact from Orton.
But even on that last possession by Sam Houston, when they got the layup that was missed, the Kentucky defenders were too caught up with their man on the weak side. They've got to be in the middle lane, especially the big men. Now, perimeters, you probably don't want them sagging off as much. You've seen what they can do shooting the threes. But Patterson and Orton and if Cousins is in there, they've got to be taking up a lot of room in the space. There's no way you should get a high post cut to the basket for a layup.
Clavell gets the first as Lance Peebyhouse checks in. One of the things that Calipari talked about today, Kyle, was you spoke of the whole thing about communication. And one of the things he wanted them to do was to repeat every call that they made, because apparently some guys in the last game had said that they didn't hear a call, didn't pick it up. Well, he wasn't going to have that this time.
Houston shows a little zone now.
They've only done that for about a trip, and credit that to the good outside shooting of Bledsoe and Wall. 27 points between that combination of Wall and Bledsoe. They're a combined 10 of 14 from the field, Kyle. And they've got 10 assists between them.
Clavell and Orton getting tied up there underneath the basket. But, you know, this Sam Houston team has been very physical. They're not backing down at all, talking some trash as well, and Kentucky has responded.
And now the defense extending. And Mitchell puts it on the floor. And the nice lead for Clavell. And it's Orton who draws the foul.
Again, you'd like to see a little bit more weak side rotation giving help. When Mitchell makes a strong drive, Orton comes over kind of halfway, but Miller was late getting on the inside, couldn't get the help position. Because even though it's man-to-man defense, it's a little deceptive because all 5 players should be guarding the basketball, but knowing where your individual man is.
And Sam Houston State now going to the free throw line more liberally here in the second half, but as a coach, you'd take that as opposed to trading 2 for 3. Margin at 17. Kentucky's biggest lead just 19 moments ago. And Wall tried to get it inside, and that was an ill-advised pass. $11 turnovers for the Cats. Sam Houston State just turned it over for the 11th time as Bledsoe, with a good hesitation, draws the bump for Mitchell.
It's not been a real smooth game as far as any team able to get into some kind of rhythm and a flow, make an extended run. Seems like they kind of shoot themselves in the foot, make a basket or two, but then throw the ball away carelessly. If you're going to make those extended runs, every possession you have to value the basketball and get a good look at the basket.
Patterson double teamed, and that's a pretty turnaround.
Well, you can tell he's working on his game more in the perimeter, but when he gets back there, back to the basket, it's when he's the most comfortable as he was that time. But here you see how the defenders are all standing up until Sam Houston gets the ball in their hands and allows for wide open threes.
I'm telling you, though, you know, at this level, it doesn't make any difference whether you're playing in the Southland Conference or the Southeastern Conference. As Patterson gets the jam, you can't let people catch and shoot.
No, if you're a Division I basketball player, you should be able to make a wide open shot majority of the time. But again, look, as you look at the Kentucky defensive players, see how many players are standing upright instead of bent knees, pointing at the basketball on the help side, recovering.
There's your recovery right there. Wall got called for the foul, but Orton coming out enough to force the offensive man to put the ball on the floor, and then he took care of business.
Which was a good play, but see, the other four players didn't have to react from that. That's the problem.
More of Coach Macy's clinic as the Cats lead at home. Hey, UK fans, be sure to shop FanOutfitters.com, the ultimate stop for Big Blue fans. Fans can shop online at FanOutfitters.com or stop by the Lexington store in Tate's Creek Crossing. For those outside of Lexington, log on to FanOutfitters.com and check out the latest selection of Big Blue gear. We got a lot to cheer about tonight. And Kyle, we've been talking about defense. Here's that last defensive trip by Daniel Orton.
Yeah, not being too critical, just showing some things this Kentucky team can improve upon. You see Orton getting a good job, but everybody else just kind of standing up and then reacting after the play, as opposed to continue to be in position to get that loose ball after he makes that block. So you don't want to be reactive. You want to be proactive and be in position to go and get the ball, then go the other way. But those are things that will come along with this Kentucky team as they get a little bit more experience under the belt, get used to playing with each other a little bit more every time they take the floor.
Lance Peebyhouse to the free throw line. Gets the roll.
Peebyhouse, a fine shooter himself, had 53s last year for the Bearcats. Knocks down both free throws.
Sam Houston State 2 of 4 from the free throw line in the first half. Already, they have gone 6 of 6 here in the second half, and we're just nearing the 5-minute mark.
Set play coming out of that timeout. Little backdoor for Patterson. Tried to get him in the low post.
And Patrick was able to extend the arm that time, and when you do that right in front of that baseline official, that calls pretty much automatic. Patrick's first foul. Well, let's not get carried away. There's still 15 minutes left. Off the inbounds. Oh, my gosh.
New Rupp Arena record for threes by an individual.
Corey Allman, 6'1", 180-pound senior, as there's a whistle away from the ball. So there you look at Allman. He is 9 of 12 from outside the three-point line. All 9 of his field goals have been threes. He's got 27 points, 9 three-pointers in a game, a new Rupp Arena record. He was ranked number 13 nationally in three-point percentage and 14th in three-pointers made last year, and you can see why. Cousins. Nice strong move to the basket. And Boodle could do nothing but foul him.
And that's the difference between a DeMarcus Cousins right now and a Daniel Orton. Boodle really stood up Orton last time coming down the floor with his body and size, but DeMarcus Cousins just too big. Didn't have any effect when Boodle tried to lay on him that time.
Cousins got off to that big early start, which was in sharp contrast to his earlier efforts here at Kentucky, where it seemed as though as soon as he stepped on the court, he picked up 2 fouls. But tonight, he had a double-double at the half. 10 rebounds to go with 18 points. That first free throw was his first points of the second half. And a great hustle off the free throw line kept it alive for Patterson.
You seldom see that without the player that shoots the ball being called for over the line, but did a good job waiting until it hit the rim, and just the shooter knows best where it's going to bounce off. Couldn't get it to go, but Patrick Patterson right there to follow.
You not only seldom see it, but you really very seldom see it with a guy who's 6'11" doing the shooting. Mitchell, and now Allman. Let's see what Wall can do with him.
They're trying to post up Bledsoe. Has a mismatch. Cavell.
I'm telling you, he's had, what has he had, Kevin? Kevin Kidd is here with us. He's had 6 two-point attempts, and he hadn't made any of them. It's too close for him. Sorry, 9 of 12 from outside the three-point line, so he's had 3 missed twos. As you look at the attendance, 22,000 plus here tonight. Great crowds, not only in size, but in spirit early on, as Wall made a great move, and that is a rare opportunity, Kyle, when he doesn't finish.
Yeah, just trying to isolate Mitchell that time up top. 1-4 flat.
Checking in for the Bearcats is number 24, Arthur Zulu. Coming out is number 25, Boodle.
Arthur Zulu checks in.
Boodle looked like he tweaked an ankle a little bit.
Zulu comes all the way from Zambia.
And there's Bledsoe. He had hit 2 from that spot, and Cousins with a rebound, and then tried to put a pass in there to Miller. Patterson got back and got a piece of it. Can the Cats convert in transition?
Too many careless turnovers.
And Patterson with another board, and here we go again. Wall can't get the up and under. And they've played hard at both ends, but it has not been pretty the last several trips.
5-on-3 right now, both Wall and Cousins on the ground.
And look at Bledsoe get back and, I mean, stone Zulu. The 9th block of the night for the Cats. And it's Bledsoe at 6'1" that got all ball. His second. And Mitchell able to go into the backcourt off the inbounds. Here's Allman again, and that time Miller closes out on him. And a tough shot underneath as Zulu got it up and under Orton.
Good hustle by Patterson to run that ball down, throw it back to John Wall. You know what? John Wall is very good at, not only because he jumps so well, but the hang time, he can use his body kind of as a shield, let the defender commit the foul or drop down. Here you see Patterson running the ball down. But watch, he gets up in the air, kind of hangs there until the player commits the foul and still manages to get the ball up in the air for 2 shots.
Boy, they have gone at it hard here in this second half, and it has been kind of all very disjointed. but very high energy. And I think, as you see Ramon Harris check in, that if John Calipari had his druthers and he could develop the bench a little more, he wouldn't mind seeing that frantic pace all season long.
But you look out on the floor, the Kentucky players still not in the tip-top shape they will be, because a lot of players are grasping, calling for subs. But that's how you build that up. You fatigue yourself, you get out, you come back in for a minute, after a minute or two, and then you play another 4 or 5, fatigue yourself. The more you can do that, then the more you get that endurance.
Allman had it blocked. Horton got another one. That's 10 for the Cats. Miller. And Allman. Oh, my goodness. John Calipari calls timeout. And right now, you know how they have that version like of Windows and things? This could be dribble drive you crazy.
Well, I tell you, Allman tried to go a couple times into the glass, and he said, forget that. I'm not scoring two-point range. I'm going to do what I do best, and that's shoot threes. As we said, sets a new Rupp Arena record from behind the three-point line for an individual. And the team should be getting close now, too. 15 was the total Miami hit the other night. Now at 16, so 2 records set.
10 3-pointers. Mike Canarak tells us from the truck that Tony Delk had 10 3-pointers one night here in Rupp. And he's probably over there in the vicinity of that Kentucky bench shaking his head. There's TD. That's what he's saying. Look at him. He's talking about it right now.
It's still 12 minutes to play.
And then did you notice Scott Padgett over there? Padgett's giving him the business about it. He patted him on the shoulder and said, well, that record was nice while it lasted. I mean, he was over there giving Delk a hard time. Boy, what do you think the cut-ups are going to be like in this three-point defense the next couple of days?
Could get brutal.
Whistle away from the ball. John Cal's got it. And man, it has been a great offensive night for Kentucky. But the Bearcats have stayed in it with 16 trays. They still trail by a dozen. Time now for the Kentucky Farm Bureau all-around coverage. Defensive play of the game. And despite the outside shooting, Kyle, there has been some good defense.
Well, just excellent anticipation that time by John Wall to come away with the steal, and then knows what to do once he gets it on the breakaway. Two-handed reverse dunk.
And that's our Kentucky Farm Bureau all-around coverage play of the game. Now, some people might think we're being flipped there, but I mean, you look at what's happened here. I mean, Kentucky they've forced turnovers. They've blocked 9 shots. They've forced 11 turnovers. They've got 8 steals. They're shooting 62% from the field, 56% from the three-point line, as Miller can't get it to go. If it just wasn't for that pesky 16 of 27 three-point shooting by the Bearcats.
And you know, the Bearcats are playing still with a lot of confidence. They feel pretty good about themselves, only down 12, considering that Kentucky is shooting so well and they've kind of been outmanned. So they feel like if they can get some stops, they've got a lot of confidence. I mean, they're talking some trash out there and playing very hard.
Mitchell came up, that's Preston Brown that came up short on that one. And a rare three-point miss. Here's Cousins. And he draws the contact.
And a good move that time by DeMarcus Cousins not to put the ball on the floor. Just caught it, spun, went right to the basket. Didn't let the perimeter players have a chance to come in there and get a deflection or a steal.
There you see Corey Allman. 10 three-pointers tonight. Kentucky, Kyle, has given up 31 three-pointers in its last 2 games. That's not attempts. That's makes. As Cousins sees that one roll off. Kentucky now 10 of 16 from the stripe. And Sam Houston State with another chance to cut into a 12-point lead. There's Brown again. And we talked about that bad hamstring twice in a row. He's come up short. And look at Wall with the body control and he gets it to go.
And you know, John Wall is interesting. I was watching during that free throw when Cousins missed both of them. He and John Calipari had just a heated conversation going back and forth. Finally just kind of shrugged his shoulders and said, well, I'll show you. Next time down, he goes strong in the basket. And that's kind of how he speaks, I guess, by scoring points.
Ray Murray, the sophomore from Huntsville, Texas, pulls up and hits inside the arc. And Miller can't get that one to go. Long three, and that one won't fall. As the shot selection for Sam Houston State has not been as good the last several trips as it has been for most of the night. What a feed from Wall on the wraparound, and Cousins was fouled.
Let's take a look at that last drive by John Wall after the discussion with Coach Calipari. Just kind of keeps his shoes right on the edge, able to turn around, still maintain control, get it up in the rim. Kind of an inside out, almost falls over, but still gathers himself. Awkward looking, but very effective.
Cousins hits the first, and now Darius Miller will get a break as John Hood checks in. And a four-man substitution. PB House, Clavel, Boodle, and Mitchell check back in for Sam Houston State. Patrick Patterson over in front of the scorer's table waiting to come in, and Cousins free for the slam.
Good look by Ramon Harris that time, running down the loose ball and knowing where Cousins was. Of course, he's kind of hard to miss, that big out on the floor.
As much as they've struggled with three-point defense, Kentucky's been awfully good early on in terms of going after missed free throws.
They have, keeping the ball alive, some tips, and running down, getting the control.
PB House. And the rebound put up and no good by Boodle.
That's one of the new rules this year, Dave. We get a foul that time called Ramon Harris, but anytime you swing your elbows, one of the point of emphasis, it is a violation. Now, if the arms swing faster than the body, it can actually be called a flagrant foul.
It can. Now, that was called a foul, and the point of emphasis that they're dealing with, Kyle, as there's a timeout on the court, the point of emphasis is it a part of that player's natural motion?
Right.
Or is he exaggerating it to try and clear some space?
Yeah, and I think we'll see here, it's just part of the natural motion because his whole body is spinning as well. And so that's why it's just a regular foul as opposed to a flagrant foul. And he also kind of here takes the left arm. You can't really see from that angle, but kind of uses that forearm on the left arm to kind of push off a little bit. It's interesting though, if you're a defender and the man gets the basketball, it almost encourages you to come up and block him in, because if he can't spin to get away, how's he going to get the ball onto a teammate?
You're right.
But that is one of the points of emphasis this year.
And that's one of those coaching subtleties. We've seen that particular point of emphasis a couple of different times. Have not seen the new box underneath the basket where they're trying to encourage secondary defenders from not coming over and taking the charge. We haven't seen that come into play yet. Here's PB House, who got wide open off the inbounds, and that is the 17th three-pointer of the night for Sam Houston State.
Yeah, Kentucky's not done a very good job defending their baseline out of bounds. Have done a good job keeping the ball alive on their end, but not trying to defend when Sam Houston's had it underneath their own basket.
Wall resets the offense. And off the pass, he can't get the deep three to go as Boodle comes down with the board. Here's PB House again. And Patterson with a strong board.
Now, real good rip that time by Patrick Patterson. Now, you might think this would be a real good possession to work it into the half court, get Patrick down the low post. They've relied a little bit too much here lately on the perimeter shots. But again, slow reacting to PB House. And Patrick goes and gets the board. Unfortunately, he missed it.
And Kentucky in the bonus. Kyle, something else as Darius Miller gets set to check in that I think is important to mention is I think this Kentucky bench is going to have to be deeper as the season goes on. And a couple of different things tonight. They've only gone with 8 tonight. DeAndre Liggins has been in that situation where he has not played this year for whatever reason. A lot of speculation about whether or not something is going on with Darnell Dotson from that standpoint. He has not played, and we've got the break in the action because they're working on a clock problem over at the scorer's table. They've got to reset it. Also, Kyle, we've not seen Josh Harrelson play tonight, and there has been no scuttlebutt about whether or not there's anything going on with him. That appears to be just a coach's decision. And I'm sorry, maybe 9, because Perry Stevenson has played, but only for a little bit.
Well, and that's one bad thing, I guess, about having some very close pre-conference early season games. You don't have the big margin where you can kind of experiment a little bit with some of your lineups, because the games have been so tightly contested that you've got to make sure you don't have a 5-minute stretch where a team goes on a 15-0 run you can't recover.
It is 9 players, but Stevenson has only played a little. And there have been some guys that have logged some big minutes. There you look at that new record for an opponent in Rupp Arena, 17 3-pointers. As Trevon Charles draws the ball. In case you're wondering, for those of you scoring at home, and I know you are, the record for made threes by a team in Rupp Arena was Kentucky, who hit 20 against LSU in 1995. Mitchell was on the line. He was just inside that line. That's a 2. Nice look by Bledsoe and good ball movement. And Patterson lost the handle. Mitchell. 3 chances. Ball goes off the hand of Clavel. And Harris took a hard fall. Clavel was trying to help him. But Kentucky gets the basketball, but not a good trip on the defensive boards, Kyle.
Well, you've got to give Sam Houston credit. I mean, they're still down 12, but they're battling like it's a 2-point game, and there's still plenty of time. I don't think Kentucky is at the point where they can feel like they can relax yet. I mean, this Sam Houston team, again, showing their experience, just continues to battle, fight, dig, scratch, whatever, knock shots down. Now they've got Allman back in the lineup. Make a little run here, all of a sudden we've got a very close game the last 3 or 4 minutes.
There's Cousins, and he's fouled by Boodle. I'll tell you one thing that coaches talk about, Kyle, and I think it's maybe showing itself a little bit here, is consistency. And you've got a Sam Houston State team that has played together. They know about that consistency of effort. But again, a young Kentucky team, you talked about it not only during periods of the game, but during individual defensive stands. You know, they'll play well for most of the shot clock, but not all of it.
And some of that is from the inexperience. Also, you kind of have to wonder a little bit about what you touched on, that bench. If you're trying to play all out, it's just impossible going at the pace they want to play for the full 40 minutes. And if you get fatigued, your first tendency is defensively to stand up, not react as quickly, and not execute as well, get a little careless with the basketball and turn it over.
Cousins missed that free throw. Miller had it. You saw number 25, Antoine Boodle, who is fouled out now at the 8-minute mark for Sam Houston State. And Kentucky has been in the bonus for a while, and they've not done a very good job this half of taking advantage. Has a nice feed inside, and relatively small Preston Brown at 6'6" made himself awfully big in there.
Well, that was just a real nice set run by Sam Houston. They curled the big man, so the Bledsoe had to switch. They took him down a low post, just isolated him down there. Now you see Houston getting Kentucky in a half-court set.
Miller. And now Wall. And the rebound pulled down by Preston Brown. Kyle, what didn't you like about that shot? You were shaking your head when he shot it.
Well, it was just a bad set. Nothing came within the offense in a flow. Everybody was just kind of standing around watching. You had Cousins going to low post, but he missed his last 3 free throws. So even if he got fouled, you'd rather maybe put Patrick Patterson in there and get some more T movement before you get a shot. Again, Sam Houston, good execution. They score another basket.
Nice feed, and Clavel gets it inside. And Sam Houston State, who found themselves down by as many as 19 earlier in this half, all of a sudden they have cut that margin in half as they trail by 8.
Yeah, and I'm telling you, you can just kind of feel the momentum shift a little bit here, Dave. Sam Houston just staying very focused. Kentucky taking some possessions off, not by choice, but just I think some of that inexperience, not exactly sure what they should do in certain situations. A time maybe to regroup during this timeout, come out of the huddle, get a good set, get your best player the shot that you're looking for, try to capitalize, and then go back and get a good stop on the defensive end.
And there you see Bob Marlin talking to his team, and he is a guy that is really entrenched in basketball, Kyle, as we look at this set. An 81 graduate of Mississippi State. He is a member of the Junior College Coaching Hall of Fame down in Florida. Told me last night that in 1978, one of his Mississippi State classmates and teammates, Joe Dean Jr., said, hey, if you want to learn about basketball, you need to come up here to Kentucky. So he came and worked the Joe B. Hall camp here at Kentucky for 3 weeks in 1978. So this means a lot. He's an SEC guy.
Yeah, he is, and he does an excellent job as a defensive coach. Although watching this game tonight, you'd think maybe he's more offensive-minded the way they've been shooting lights out. But, I mean, they're making Kentucky battle for every point. It's a lot of times taking fouls to not give Kentucky a follow dunk or an easy layup. Turned it into a very physical game, trying to get these freshmen off their mark, getting more involved in the bumping and the holding than they are playing their own game on the floor.
And you want to talk about that experience, Kevin Kidd tells us as well. Sam Houston State, 2 turnovers in the second half. Kentucky was 7. And what kind of set do the Cats come up with out of the timeout?
Just ran a 2-man high game, slipped it with Cousins, and kicked it back to opposite side. But look at the defense, all packed in the lane. Going to make Kentucky try to do something outside.
And there's Patterson. And I hearken back to something Calipari said in the preseason. We want to get Patrick ready for the pros, but I've told him there are going to be times we put you down on the block when we need it.
Yeah, that was one.
Yes, sir. Allman.
It's been a while.
And, you know, it's okay to have that attitude as John Wall went flying over that auxiliary table there. Boy, you gotta love the kind of reckless abandon that he plays with, but man alive. They are fighting and scrapping. And Kentucky trying to hold off a game bunch of Bearcats. Boy, Kentucky has played well offensively, but they have not been able to put away a Sam Houston State team that has been on fire. Injuries, a big part of what's going to happen when you're playing with a short bench. For more on that, here's our Rob Ramos.
Well, I guess the good news is, Dave, we don't have much to report. John Wall is all right. He went over the table here and took out Tony Neely from the sports communications office. He's all right. Eric Bledsoe had a tender ankle. He's gone just about all the way tonight, so I'd say that ankle is doing pretty well. John Hood had a bad wrist, but we saw him in his first action this evening. John Calipari said he didn't practice for 3 days, so he couldn't play, but we did see him in his first action tonight. That's our UK Healthcare Injury Report.
And Wall, thank you, Rob, after that, up and in. Not surprising that Tony Neely would be able to fend him off like that as you take a look at John Hood. Tony, of course, is the sports information guru for Wildcat football. Not a big guy, but he knows all about positioning. And there is another play where Kentucky's not only got an offensive rebound off a free throw, but turned it into points.
Yeah, that's been huge for the Wildcats tonight. The 4th, 5th time they've been able to get their hands on the ball, and that time finishing.
Pass underneath, and Clavel had it blocked. And Cousins comes down with it. Kentucky now in double digits in blocks. And the last 2 times, Kyle, when Kentucky's desperately needed a basket, it's been Patterson in the paint.
And then as you look out there now, they've got it right back down there. Went just to a 4-out 1-in with Patrick Patterson, swung the ball and got a wide open 3.
7 straight for the Cats. Bledsoe has found that Corey Allman spot on the floor. And Patterson thought he had a clean block, but that's a good play, not giving up the easy bucket.
We talked about Kentucky being very active. You see the big men cross on the lane for Kentucky, and Sam Houston State just not able to hold that block out as Justin Crow let Patrick Patterson slip off, gathered it, and dunked it.
Clavel at the free throw line. How about this number? Sam Houston State is 17 of 34 from the three-point line, 50%. As Clavel hits the second. The Bearcats are 7 of 31 from the field, 23%. On their two-point shooting, 23%. On their three-point shooting, 50%.
Tells me you better look for a little bit more outside shots, right?
Boy. And look at Bledsoe. Got a little smile. We haven't seen that a lot. But he's knocked down 2 trays in a row. PB House. And a foul is called. And if that's the case, PB House could be going to the line to shoot 3.
That's his third and the team's 8th.
Kentucky responding a little bit on with their three-point game. Good ball movement around the perimeter. Eric Bledsoe spots up, knocks it down.
Kyle, when you look at it, I mean, Bledsoe is 5 of 7 from outside the arc. He's got 19 points. Kentucky is a team 11 of 21 from the three-point line. You take that as a coach.
Definitely would. But I think what has really set that up has been tonight's effort to try to go inside a little bit more. It puts a little extra pressure on the defense trying to defend inside. Then they're a little bit slower coming back outside. So because of that, you're going to get better shots where you get yourself set, kind of step into the shot with the inside-out pass.
And PB House can't get the roll. And Cousins again, he is having a monster night. And there is that Darius Miller floater. And Bledsoe with an incredible play. He got the steal and got it to Wall, who had it knocked away.
We haven't called Allman's name in a while as he finally gets his hand on the ball, but Kentucky's done a much better job of finding him, not letting him get around the three-point line. I guess I should have shut up as he knocks that one down.
Attaway, Mace. And then the steal. And it's Mitchell. And a nice box out as Charles got the rebound, but Patterson took care of it. And Allman stops things as he commits the open court foul. Corey Allman now 11 of 19 from the field. All 11 of his field goals have been three-pointers. 11 of 15 from outside the arc for Bob Marlin. A game-high 33 points.
Well, and the Cats had done a pretty good job keeping him quiet, but in that transition game, again, just because of a turnover, Sam Houston able to spread the floor, kind of lost him in transition.
And Wall can't get it to go. And in terms of points of emphasis for this Kentucky team, three-point defense is obvious. I think after tonight, you also put free throw shooting there, Kyle.
Yeah, definitely. They're struggling from the line. As I look out on the floor, I watch Eric Bledsoe now. He's made some nice threes here lately, but he is really favoring that right ankle. My question is, after tonight's game, will he be able to bounce back quickly enough for a game on Saturday in the afternoon? So not much rest time, and that's going to be a concern, I think, even though he's playing exceptionally well tonight.
Then they turn around and actually go to Cancun for 2. So it is a concentrated stretch. Sam Houston State 12 of 15 for the free throw line. Kentucky 14 of 24. Next dead ball, the under 4-minute timeout. And for the first time, Allman hits the deck. John Wall got out there. He didn't get called for a foul. But Calipari is just, he's trying to figure it out. And Bledsoe trying to answer 3 for 3 as the Cats try to close out Sam Houston State.
can lease a Journey SXT for just $269 a month.
Whitaker Bank is donating $100 to the Kaywood Ledford Scholarship Fund for each bank shot made in tonight's game. Tonight, a total of 3 bank shots for a total of $300. Thank you to Whitaker Bank. Dave Baker, Kyle Macy, Rob Bromley, our entire Big Blue Sports Network crew. Let's see. There's threes, there's dunks, there's blocks. I think they need more facade over there. And those are only the home threes. Let's see, a total of 29 three-pointers made in the game tonight between the two teams. 11 made by that man, Corey Allman. Cats up 15, trying to close it out. Wall working against Allman. Cousins staying with it. Good move. They just couldn't finish it. And a whistle as Mike Kitts gets Darius Miller for the reach.
Checking in for the Bearcats is number 1, Ashton Mitchell.
Dave, you talked about some areas the Cats will need to continue to work upon. One, I think a key word would be recognition. Obviously, defensive recognition, knowing where the shooters are, finding them, locating at all time, but also recognizing what's a good drive to the basket, what's a bad drive. You want to put pressure on the defense, but recognize if it's a 1-on-4, that's not good numbers. Kick it out, let the next person drive the basket. I think we've seen a little bit of improvement tonight than the other night, but still some areas to improve upon. And then, as you said, free throw shooting. In close games against close scored ball games against good quality teams like at North Carolina, I'm kind of looking ahead. You've got to be able to make those free throws into pressure situations.
And you know, Kyle, again, it comes back to defense. Kentucky, a young team, only 11 of 21. As Cousins gets the bucket and draws the foul. And he'll have a chance to go to the free throw line to improve upon that mark.
And even though this pass goes, again, going up against a 6'7" guy, that pass may get through. You're playing against a 7-footer. Not sure that's the pass that John Calipari would like when he looks back at the film.
The veteran Sam Houston State team, 14 of 17 from the line. And with that Cousins make, Kentucky now 15 of 25 from the free throw line for 60%.
That's his fifth, and the team's 10th.
And that is number 5 whistled against Darius Miller. That's assistant coach John Robick.
And the thing about all this, Dave, we talk about some of the points of improvement or to be a little bit critical, but then you look at the scoreboard and they're up 16 points. Again, it just kind of speaks to the volume of talent and the abilities. It just kind of makes the Kentucky fan dream a little bit about if all players can get on the same page and just everybody working together offensively and defensively, how good this team could be.
Now, Kyle, you get to doing a game and, you know, you're in the mechanics of it and everything as Darius Miller goes to the bench. Derek Varney is our timeout coordinator over there, former Scott County sharpshooter. And he tells us that there have been no points from the Kentucky bench. And we've talked about that bench and about bigger contributions. And you start looking down the old scoring sheet, and voila. 15 from Miller, 19 from Wall, 25 points and 16 boards from Cousins. Bledsoe with 19, and Patterson with 20 as Mitchell hits.
Well, to be honest, John Hood hadn't played a lot of minutes. Daniel Orton has kind of been in and out of the lineups, And
Josh Harrelson, who we saw, has not played.
Yeah.
Perry Stevenson with the little. And Darnell Dotson and DeAndre Liggins have not had the warm-ups off.
It is good to see DeAndre Liggins, though, sitting closer to his teammates. The other night we saw him sitting with between 3 coaches and his teammates.
PV House with a steal. And he can't control the rebound. 19 Kentucky turnovers to just 12 for Sam Houston State.
And a lot of those weren't really forced turnovers. Sometimes just careless or trying to do a little bit too much with the basketball, making the low percentage pass and just making the solid pass that can get the job done.
And now Bledsoe goes to the bench and takes a seat alongside assistant Rod Strickland. Hood back in there now. And Allman with the defense as we approach 2 minutes to play. Cousins, nice cross-court look. And Harris can't get it to go. And basket interference as Patterson was trying to help late. But that, Kyle, the one thing that John Calipari is wringing his hands about on the bench, that was awfully easy to get it in to Gilbert Clavel.
Well, it's slow in transition. The big men did not run the floor. It's hard, but you have to run the floor 100% every time there's a change of possession. And for some reason, it seems like the floor tilts more towards the offensive end when players are running than it does when they're running back to defense.
Yeah. There's Peavy House, got another hand on the ball. And Allman gets his first two-point basket of the night. 12 field goals. The first 11 were from outside the arc. And that bucket gives him 35 points. Now, you know, people hearing us talk like this, you know, had they not had the benefit of seeing the score, might think that something else was going on. I mean, the good thing is that you're going to get out of here with a win if you're Kentucky. And the head coach is going to have plenty that he can put on the board, diagram, and cut up tape to talk to his team about.
Yeah, they'll have a lot of film session opportunities, I would think, from this game.
But the thing about it, though, Kyle, is at this point in time, you don't have a lot of time to work on those things. You got Saturday here, and then you go to Cancun, and you've got games on Tuesday and Wednesday. You come back with a short Thanksgiving weekend, and you're right back at home on November 30th as Wall is called for the basket interference, which will be the last time you'll have a chance to get ready before North Carolina comes to town.
You know, David, it sounds kind of strange. A minute 35, again, a 10-point game. Sam Houston, be interesting to see if they continue to pick up, try to trap, create some opportunities. It looks like they're just going to try to go ahead and play it straight. I think they might try to foul their worst free throw shooter to keep cutting into that, get some more threes to drop.
Cousins dropped the basketball. 21 turnovers now for the Cats. And Allman with the look inside. And Cousins hustled back to get the block. But the 22nd turnover, and it's knocked away again.
And it's good to be able to throw an outlet pass, lead to a fast break for a highlight reel dunk. But at the same time, game situations vary what you should do on the court. And then right now, a little over a minute to play. The possession of the basketball is more important than any points you can score. You've got the lead. All you need to do now is control the ball, let the clock run. So if you get a rebound, hold it until you get a guard to come back and take it from your hands. Not allow a defender to deflect it, come up with a steal, and give another opportunity to score.
Calipari having an elongated discussion with an Eric Bledsoe who is bent over trying to get some air. I think what Calipari wants is I think he wants those two guards to be more assertive, that once those big guys get it off the glass, he wants those guards to go get it and to really be forceful about getting it into their hands instead of perhaps trying to make some of those plays.
Now you see the substitution. DeMarcus Cousins coming out, John Hood in. The reason being they're trying to extend out now and guard more of the three-point line because Sam Houston State has all their shooters in the lineup, trying to pull you inside and then go back out.
Shot by Mitchell won't go. Cousins, 27 points, 18 rebounds. He was 10 of 15 from the field, 7 of 13 from the free throw line. Career night, at least early in his Wildcat career, for the young man from Mobile, Alabama.
Kentucky spacing the floor, putting Patrick Patterson middle, trying to get some backdoor cuts, using the clock down to 6. Now they'll play one-on-one.
And Bledsoe waited an awful long time. And again, even though it's late, it's not going to make a difference. That's another one of those learning situations that Calipari can build on. The way things are going early, he better build on some stamina as much as he's been up.
Yeah, as you look out there, a lot of players leaning over, really fatigued. And again, third game in 6 days, and I think they're going to end up playing, 5 and 9 before this swings over.
There's Allman adding to his total. 37 points. And Bob Marlin telling his team not to foul as this one's going to come to an end. Even though it's the first loss for the Bearcats, Bob Marlin's got to be awfully happy with his team's effort. And John Calipari just happy to get out of here with another W.
No, I think Sam Houston should be very happy with their effort. I think they learned a lot as well about their team, but they competed very hard, played very physical, and looked for an outstanding season in the Southland Conference.
So Sam Houston State sees its record fall to 2-1. Kentucky runs its record to 3-0. And Kentucky gets the win, scoring 102 points, and all of those points coming from its starting five. Darius Miller with 15, John Wall 21 points, 6 assists, 4 rebounds, 19 for Eric Bledsoe to go along with 6 assists, 20 for Patrick Patterson with 9 boards as he just misses another double-double, and DeMarcus Cousins 27 points, 18 rebounds. Kentucky shoots 50%, 11 of 22 from outside the three-point arc. But it is Sam Houston State going 18 of 38 from outside the arc. And a career night as Corey Allman has 37 points and 11 three-pointers. But the Cats escape. They move on in the Cancun Classic to take on Ryder here Saturday afternoon. For my broadcast partner, I'm Dave Baker. Thanks, everybody. Let's send you home now with our man, Rob Bromley. Rob?
Well, I tell you, Dave, it was pretty incredible to watch this shooting display and all the threes going in here tonight. 18 three-pointers. John Calipari said after the game against Miami on Monday, they hit 15 threes. We still won with a young team, a freshman and sophomore team, and tonight Sam Houston State comes in, hits 18 threes, but the Cats still win it 102-92. DeMarcus Cousins, double-double, 27 and 18. It is Ryder coming up here Saturday afternoon as this Cancun Challenge continues. Check your local listings as we will be bringing you all the action here on the Big Blue Sports Network. For Kyle Macy, Dave Baker, Rob Bromley saying so long from Rupp Arena.
University of Kentucky Wildcat Basketball was brought to you by Kentucky Farm Bureau Insurance, big on commitment. By Ford, visit your Kentucky and a Ford dealer today. Ford, drive one. By Kentucky Community and Technical College System, KCTCS. Higher education begins here. By State Farm Insurance. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. By the Whitaker Bank Corporation, uniquely Kentucky. By Papa John's Pizza, better ingredients, better pizza. And by Shelter Insurance. For your auto, home, and life, seek shelter today. Also brought to you by Kentucky's Touchstone Energy Cooperatives, Golden Corral, Arby's, Glen Auto Mall, St. Joseph Health System, Community Trust, Nurses Registry, S&S Tire, Be Dry,